stop and think how a massive global company, we're talking billions in revenue, can struggle to answer a super simple question like, hey, how much money do we actually make last week? It sounds kind of crazy, but for a lot of them, it's a daily nightmare. So today, we're going to dig into the tool that's designed to fix that exact problem.
I know, it sounds absurd, right? A household name, a giant corporation, and they can't get a straight answer about their own financial health. But here's the thing. The reality for most big companies is that their financial data is just this tangled up mess of different systems, different languages, different processes, and that's really where all the trouble starts. Let me put it this way. Imagine one part of your business is speaking, financial German. Another part is speaking accounting French. And then you buy a new company and they're speaking billing Mandarin. How in the world do you get them all to agree on the numbers? Yeah, welcome to the financial data maze.
And look, this maze doesn't just pop up by accident. It's the natural, totally unavoidable result of growing, of buying other companies, and of technology just changing over decades. You could almost call it the scar tissue of a successful, growing business.
Just think for a sec about how this chaos actually builds up. You merge with another company and bam, you inherit their completely different systems. You've got software that's been running for 20 years because, hey, it still works. Kinda. You expand into a new country. Every single one of these normal business moves adds another tangled layer, making that one clear financial picture, well, pretty much impossible to get.
All right, so how do you even begin to fix this mess? Well, you build that universal translator we were talking about. You create one single, reliable source of financial truth for the entire organization. And that, right there, is precisely the goal of a system like SAP Central Finance.
The best way to think about central finance is like a central nervous system for all the company's money. It honestly doesn't care if the data comes from an old system, a new one, or even a competitor's software. It just connects to all of them and pulls everything into one central place.
Okay, so how does it actually pull this off? Well, it's really a pretty straightforward three-step deal. First, it connects to all those different data sources. Second, and this is where the real magic happens, it translates everything into one common standard format. And finally, it centralizes all that clean data into one master ledger, which in the SAP world is called the Universal Journal.
And you got to understand, this is the whole point. This Universal Journal, that's the Holy Grail. It's the one place where every single financial event from across the entire global company is recorded in the same language, in the same way. It becomes the ultimate single source of truth.
So, that all sounds great in theory, right? But how does this actually help a business in the real world? Let's walk through 5 super common, high-stakes situations where this approach makes a massive difference. First up, mergers and acquisitions. You buy a new company and you need to get a handle on their finances, like yesterday. Instead of some multi-year IT nightmare to merge systems, Central Finance just connects to their system, translates their data, and boom, you get a unified view almost right away. This is a game changer for speeding up that whole integration process.
Next, let's talk about those dozens of old clunky systems everyone has. Instead of 10 different teams in 10 different countries all processing payments in their own way, you can centralize that whole function into one hub. Just that one move creates incredible efficiency. And really, it's the perfect setup for a shared services model.
This one's a lot like M&A, but for bringing a brand new subsidiary online. Whether you build it from scratch or acquire it, you need to plug it into the mothership. Central Finance gives you a standard, repeatable way to connect that new business, so HQ gets an instant look at how it's doing, and you don't have to mess with its day-to-day operations. Now, this is a big deal for any CIO out there, that sprawling IT landscape that's just expensive and risky to maintain. By pulling all financial data into one single modern system, like SAP S4HANA, you get to massively simplify your whole setup. And what does that mean? Lower costs, less risk, and a much smoother operation all around. And finally, the big one, moving to the cloud. Everybody's talking about it, but how do you get there without breaking everything? Central Finance basically acts as the perfect bridge. You can shift your main financial hub to the cloud first, get all that agility and scale, and the best part, you don't have to do that scary rip and replace of all your old systems from day one. All right, so we've covered the how and the where, but let's get to the most important part, the why. What's the bottom line? What's the real business payoff here? And look, the benefits are massive. Imagine your finance team closing the books in just a few days instead of weeks, all because the data is already there and ready to go. Your IT folks can finally breathe a sigh of relief with a simpler, cheaper system.
And audits, they become so much less painful when everyone's working from the same trusted numbers.
But if you strip everything else away, this right here is the ultimate prize. One single reporting standard for the entire organization. It means everyone from an analyst in a small office to the CEO in headquarters is looking at the exact same trusted numbers. No more meetings arguing about whose spreadsheet is the right one. Those arguments just, poof, they're gone.
Okay, let's just zoom out for a second to wrap this up. Because this is about way more than just software or boring accounting rules. It's about a fundamental business need.
Think about it. When you have total, absolute clarity on your numbers, you move faster, you make smarter decisions, you can spot opportunities and risks that your competitors who are still lost in their own data maze just can't see. Clarity isn't just some nice-to-have thing. In today's world, it's a competitive weapon.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. In this age of just constant data overload, is this hunt for a single source of truth not really an IT project anymore, but maybe the single most important strategic challenge for any modern business?
All right, let's jump